here, why do you need the animations, is you don't need the animations to wow the player, but you might need the animations to engage the player, because you're going to look at areas that they want to get better. And we showed that with Steven Gerrard. Sometimes it's resilient, sometimes it's hard. So you want to engage them visually. You want to highlight certain areas. You want to see the relationship between units that sometimes they won't get when they're just watching every touch that they're getting. It's very difficult to consume the game tactically when you're away from the team. So what they usually watch Monday Night Football if they're in the UK. If they're over here, they might watch NBC on a Saturday morning. It's hard to get that tactical insight, so you might need to do that for them. It's grey areas, and I'm going to show you an example here that sometimes information is not, you did that bad or that wasn't right. Sometimes it can be good, but it can be a little better, or it can be good and it can be a little different. And it also can highlight quality control to your information given as a coach. Sometimes a coach, we talk too much, we get everything off our chest, and then all of a sudden the player just nods the whole time. But if we have to animate, that takes time for coaches. So now we're having to work on, all right, well, he just needs 3 or 4 clips here because I don't have 6 hours to animate every single one. And it shows that you are taking the time to prepare for a meeting. So if I was to meet with Tammy Abraham after watching that match, this is what I would show him, or this is the process I would go through. This is using Keyframe software. Keyframe, I'm going to put it up here now in a second. It's what I would recommend. It's the most affordable tool in the market. It's the easiest to use tool in the market. And in my opinion, for going down and getting your work done and getting that to the player's head, absolutely fantastic. So I'm using this here from Keyframe as an example of how, if I got those clips that I wanted to use, this is how I would break it down and show Tammy after the game. 4 clips that I've animated, looking for his feedback on my feedback.
So in this first clip, you can see Tammy Abraham combining with the left back of Chelsea, just with some counter movements. Tammy drops short, the full back goes into the space in behind, and it just, what it does to the Barcelona defence in terms of the shape, just unbalances them slightly. So fullback's caught a little bit behind. What you would typically want, or what you could possibly want from Tam Abrams here, is to spin off into that space, because when the ball is shifted to the other side from the fullback, he's then looking from a position that he could possibly hit that ball into Tam Abraham, into the space, and create something. He has to come back. They do well actually coming out of it to combine. This next one here is just in terms of his movement. He's dropped, when they drop it short, he's dropped behind the Barcelona defender Piqué, when the Chelsea midfielder perhaps would want them in front of him to bounce the ball off, because he's got another option there with a Chelsea midfielder. If he does bounce that ball off, he could potentially combine right in front of the two Barcelona central defenders. So maybe his positioning then could be 5 yards in front of Piqué or towards him. He doesn't get an opportunity to play forward. You can see the Chelsea midfielder then communicating with forward players, wanting a bit more movement there. And maybe that's what it was. This one here, again, is just the detail of the movement. He's not in a bad place here. He doesn't have a lot of options here, but if he moves, again, 5 yards to the side, or even if he makes a run in behind the Barcelona defence, he might just move this space and make this space in front of the Barcelona back four a little bit bigger for the Chelsea midfielders, who combine and break into this space. But because Tammy Abraham is standing in this space, it becomes way too congested. So if he's spinning out of that or moving out of that, he can maybe create more space in front of the back four. He doesn't. He stays, and they run out of space and then give up an opportunity in the counter attack. Then not a lot of space to play in, and then Barcelona moved the ball really quickly on the break. And then this one here, really good movement here. Ball goes back. There's an opportunity to play into Tammy Abraham. He creates a bit of space off the centre back, so you could be happy with that there. Choose not to use him, which is fine. But ideally, when the ball starts to move again, they've off-balanced the Barcelona defence, and maybe that's an opportunity for Tammy Abraham to get in behind and to stretch them, because they've got a midfielder facing forward with the ball in possession who has the ability, I'm sure, to threaten that area right there. So he moves in eventually, but maybe not with the aggression that you would perhaps want. And then this one's really good. It's just timing, where Chelsea bounce the ball off, and then on the half turn here, and the Barcelona defence does really good, in fairness, and Tammy Abrahams has a chance to get in behind. It's a great ball, it's a great run, it's a great idea, but it's just marginally offside, and that's probably the detail at this level that you would want them to look at. He was offside, but just about.
So a discussion like that, you can have at any level 4 or 5 clips that as a coach you can then put together on Keyframe, and then work your animations around that there. You can highlight them, you can highlight other players, you can highlight space. I think that's a big help to a player who sometimes players play the game, they don't see. We talk about overloads a lot as coaches, don't we? We talk about, well, they never took advantage of a 3v2 or even a 2v1 situation in different areas. But is the player really seeing that at the time? Sometimes you have to revisit that. But animations really help in that there. Another aspect of Keyframe, what it allows you to do is that sometimes to as a coach, you can send a clip and write a text. And some players today don't read texts as detailed as probably we would want. We write them like emails sometimes as coaches. So another tool that Keyframe has is that it allows you to actually put the audio alongside it. So when you're working and doing your animations, you can press record and you can talk. So just a quick example of this. This would be, maybe you could put that on the Coach Logic platform and leave it to the player, or you could send it to their phone perhaps. This is just a quick example of one of the clips that maybe you could do with that there.
Thought this was really good, Tammy. Thought the way you and the fullback worked, with you dropping in, fullback going high, was fantastic. Really unbalanced the Barcelona defence. Right here you can see what it did to their back four. But with this picture in mind, I think ideally we would want you to, as soon as this happens, to be aware of the picture that it creates, and then immediately to get into this space between the two centre backs as soon as it's unbalanced, because that's where we feel that you can threaten the goal. So if you drop into that space right away, you can see here that you stay in the midfield area, probably for a second or two longer than we would want. And then when the ball's on the far side, and now as soon as it's going, we would prefer that you were on attacking that space there between those two fullbacks and looking for this pass here from the winger. And we could utilise you there.